Today is October 2nd, Q4 2017, and this is the ServiceMonster Show. Today, Twitter ruins Twitter. I'll talk about ServiceMonster's employee vacation and sick time policy, and Mobile Technician goes into closed beta. This week on social media, Twitter is trying out a 280 character limit, which if you've been in Twitter for at all, you'll know that the limit of 140 characters is both one of Twitter's greatest strengths and its greatest weakness. It makes sure that the messages that we're seeing in our feed is super ultra small, and that you think about how you craft a message or a communication or a piece of content to be consumed at 140 characters. That, of course, has lent itself into all kinds of clever ways to abbreviate things, and the hashtag market is aiding in that as well. But at the end of the day, going to 280 is going to allow more people to put more of their thought on paper, but is it really going to be the thing that brings Twitter back from the grave? They've never been profitable. Their engagement has been in steady decline for years. So is this the thing that's going to bring them back from the grave, or are pure Twitterists going to be just mostly upset? Anchor raises $10 million for its podcast platform. They got a lot of traction when SoundCloud kind of was having some issues in the press, right? So Anchor was the one that was on deck there. And podcast is becoming a major thing. The trend continues to rise. It's getting more consumption overall than video views. And a lot of the people in the know are paying a lot of attention to podcasting. ServiceMonster's head to the UAMCC conference October 15th and 16th. If you're going, come check it out. This week in ServiceMonster. So the Fill My Schedule card is underway. Ryan Kitterig hasn't got us a sample yet, but he sent me a message on Friday saying we should see it at the beginning of the week. And as soon as I have something, it's going directly on Smug from feedback from you guys. Super Agents continues to grow. We added another super agent to the staff last week. And so if you're unfamiliar with that program, you know, we answer phones for service providers around the nation. It's an amazing program. It's not just an answer service. It's actually employee timeshare. We do a lot of outbound activities. We'll sit during the slow season and help you set up marketing campaigns. Hell, we'll even do it for you. Then you're just filling up with jobs as we answer the phone and put them on your schedule. So it's been a very successful program. I planned on having it just as a lab. We'll continue to only grow it to about 50 clients, but it's becoming such more than that for me, because a lot of the business owners who are on there, they're just so grateful about what we do for them and how much we take off their plate. So if you're interested in that program, I encourage you to check it out. We usually only open up 3 or 4 slots at a time, and I know we're going to be opening them up soon, although one of our agents had a bit of a medical emergency, so we might be missing him for a little bit. So the slow season is upon us, and obviously I'm going to talk about that during the Ask at some point. What do service providers do during the slow season? That means slow season for us too. ServiceMonster's call volume and sales volume definitely decreases during December, January, and February. And so what are we going to do? Well, we're starting to prep projects that will allow support agents, super agents, engineering always busy, QA is always busy, but anybody who's got a little bit of downtime to take on additional projects around the company. And they could be really small, like research and analysis into other companies or things that the market is expecting from us, right? So, you know, how I get some of these reports and how we know what Twitter is doing and so forth. We're prepping for it. And what are the things that you're going to look for? You're going to look for improvements, proper documentation and SOPs, maybe do some auditing. You know, take a look around to your technologies. Can they be improved and updated? Can your content for marketing and branding? There's all kinds of stuff that you could be doing to fortify during the slow season and make the horsepower that you have work for you. And hopefully you planned a little ahead of time on that, but again, we'll save that for the Ask. So I feel compelled to talk a little bit about ServiceMonster's sick and vacation time policy, because the state of Washington is imposing changes on us, and I understand where they're coming from, but it makes it hard now when we have our policy. We're going to have to actually change it a little bit. It's also come up in the board a few times, so I thought you guys might be interested in how we handle it. Obviously, we're trying to grow a culture here, which means we want to be empathetic to our employees, making sure that they have good health, both physically and mentally, and they're able to do an awesome job when they're here doing what we need them to do in order to drive the company forward. As a result, after a 90-day probationary period, employees start to earn and accrue PTO, or personal time off, in the neighborhood of 3 weeks even in their first year. As they move forward and they gain more tenure within the company, that will go to 3.5 and then eventually 4 weeks at the 5-year mark. So a pretty healthy amount of PTO for vacation and sick time. But because of changes in the state of Washington, we're now going to have to split that up into both sick and vacation time, allocating both for each. And what will happen is if employees aren't using it because they're healthy, then once they're capped out, any spillover, we're gonna put automatically in the PTO bucket for them. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to you is not to just let you know about the general policy that we have because of how we treat our employees here, but also you have to adapt sometimes, right? Keep up to date with employment laws. And then how does that look on your employee side? If we just said PTO split up and any time that you don't use in your sick bucket is just lost, well, then they're losing a benefit there, right? So we sat around the table with our HR and we talked at length about how we're going to address this policy to make sure we serve both the needs of the state and the needs of the employee. ServiceMonster product updates. ServiceMonster 6.1.2 is in QA and they're testing the job notification pipeline. They found a little minor issue with it, and so the engineers are tightening that up before they send it out. There's a couple of bug fixes that are in this build too you guys will enjoy, including jobs automatically being scheduled when they're unscheduled and you make an edit, being able to copy and paste text from the job pop-up dialog, and an interesting new feature on orders being able to do a compound or compact order line item section. Mobile 3 is still in its QA for its next release. We're hoping to get that out Tuesday or Wednesday to the iOS and Android network, which mostly includes the depth of sight and the Send Jim Radius Bomb button. Mobile Technician goes into closed beta this week. I'm super excited because I'm actually going to do a ride along for at least a half a day to see how technicians kind of fumble through it and what improvements we might need to make before we kick it out in scale. But I'm super excited to move that project forward. Well, keep you guys in the loop every single week. As soon as we have an open beta, then I'll let more people in on it, but that'll be a short period. I plan on fixing everything in closed and then just kicking it out. From everyone here at ServiceMonster, thank you so much for your attention. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, go check out the demo, and give us a call.